Well, last night we drove up the Glen Highway from Anchorage and we made it here to Glennallen. We're at the Dry Creek State Recreation Site. We drove at least a couple hundred miles probably yesterday. Today maybe we'll make it to the Canadian border and across. This is a pretty nice place to stay. We found a pull through for 20 bucks and we were able to stay hooked up because that's always a time saver when we're on the road and trying to make miles. Today we haven't driven the route that we're going today since we went up through Dawson Creek when we came to Alaska, so this is all going to be new road and new territory. Right now we're close to the Wrangell Mountains, and last night we had an awesome view of Mount Drum. It's over 14,000 feet tall, I believe. It's an inactive volcano, had all kinds of glaciers on it. It was pretty cool. So we'll be packing up and hitting the road.
The day's route will start with the Tok Cutoff, which provides a shortcut from the Richardson Highway to the Alaska Highway. Once we are back on the Alaska Highway, we will make our way across the border into Canada before finding a place to stop in the Yukon for the night. It was now into August, and the Alaska construction season was in full swing to get projects finished before winter. Various sections throughout the length of the Tok Cutoff were under construction to repair the frost heaves from the previous winter.
Me and the kids just stepped out here beside the Alaska Highway to check out this beautiful view. We're almost ready to cross the border back into Canada, and so this is probably our last stop in Alaska. Isn't it awesome? I mean, it's just green, endless wilderness as far as you can see. Definitely gonna miss it when we go back home. Hopefully I can come back someday. It's really an awesome place, and I hope that if any of you out there ever have a chance to come, you're able to. It's just once in a lifetime experience to see such an amazing place.
So we are at the Alaska Highway entrance sign to Alaska. We actually never got this sign going into Alaska because we actually crossed hundreds of miles north of here. We went up to Dawson City and then we crossed at the top of the World Highway, and they didn't actually have a Welcome to Alaska sign. So we are heading home now, and we're on the Alaska Highway, a section we haven't been on yet, heading into the Yukon Territory, and from there we're going to head south on the Cassiar Highway into British Columbia, and we'll go from there to the lower 48 and head home. So we decided to stop at the sign anyways and get a good picture of the Alaska Highway sign, since we never got one the first time around, and we're going to head on from here and work our way home.
We are approaching Canadian Customs. It's kind of strange. The Customs building is actually like 15 miles from the actual border. So we're kind of deep in Canada already, and we're getting to Customs. So I'll turn it off here as we come in and hopefully get through.
We made it through Canadian Customs without any issues, and we're now back on the road heading south through the Yukon wilderness.
Crossed the border from Alaska into Canada today, and we are about 100 miles into the Yukon Territory. We found this really great boondocking spot here along this river, completely free and just absolutely amazing views. Snow-capped mountains in the background, 360-degree awesomeness in every direction. We're about 50 miles or so from Destruction Bay, Yukon Territory. We're heading south, working our way slowly home. Hopefully we'll be in British Columbia somewhere tomorrow. We're gonna make a stop hopefully in the town of Hyder, Alaska. It's on the very easternmost end of the Alaska Panhandle. There's some cool glaciers and some bear watching potentially there. And from there we'll keep on heading back towards the lower 48. It's a beautiful night. It's about 9 p.m. in the Yukon Territory. That would be Pacific time. So we lost an hour as we crossed the border from Alaska. There they have Alaska time. It's 1 hour behind Pacific time. We're gonna get to bed here soon and hopefully start getting up a little earlier in the morning. It's light out so late. We've been going to bed at midnight and getting up at 10 a.m. every day. So we're gonna go down, grab some food, and hit the hay. You're holding a tree. Did you get your shoe muddy, Noli? We always having to clean off your shoes. Look how strong you are, little man. Today our goal is to finish the drive across the Yukon and reach the border with British Columbia. We're on the edge of Kluane Lake at Kluane National Park in the Yukon Territory in Canada, and we noticed this really cool mirror lake here. It's just reflecting the mountains all around us perfectly. It's pretty cool. It's like a perfect reflection.
I think anytime that you have more than 2 kids, or maybe even more than just 1 kid, it can be hard to figure out a seating arrangement that works well for your family when you're on a long road trip. We have yet to really officially figure that out. We started the trip out with the older girls where they are now, and everybody pretty much where they are now, just so that the older girls would have more room for their feet and it's easier for them to get in and out of the car. However, the 2 younger ones being in the back created a lot of chaos. Specifically, well, you can hear them now, they're fighting, but Nolan needs direct supervision, turns out. He's up to no good most of the time in the car. He just gets bored and starts picking on people. And so we switched Kylie and Nolan switched seats for most of the trip. We actually had to give Kylie an incentive, a monetary incentive to sit in the back, because you do what you got to do when you're on a long road trip. So that was working pretty well, but unfortunately Kylie gets car sick, and these roads with all the frost heaves and the curviness and everything, she just could not sit in the back anymore. She was getting really sick, so she had to move back to the middle, at least for today and a little bit yesterday. And so the chaos in the very back seat has returned. There's the chaos right there. Yeah, any comments, girls? Older girls?
It's terrible.
It's terrible. So like what kind of things are terrible about them sitting back there?
Throwing stuff into the front seat.
Onto us. At us.
Well, as you can hear, they're always making these really annoying sounds. And like even when I'm trying to take a nap, they're just making all these super annoying sounds. I guess you just turn on it. I have the red rock. Red rock.
Yeah, so there you have it. It continues to be a challenge, but I'm going to be glad when we're off these roads and Kylie can go back to the back seat. I think we're all happier that way. There's a lot more peace in the car.
So we just pulled into this pull-off and we noticed our water is draining all over, and the little valve that is the drain valve on here broke off somehow.
We found
And
the
we're
line.
losing all of our water, and we can't fill up any water now until we fix this problem.
I was done
So
one.
we're gonna have to find an RV repair shop that has that part.
The line's going on.
I could probably get a clamp it.
Pull that line.
Obviously it just leaked right before our, just started leaking right before our stop. Because it's still leaking. About, I don't know, 8 or 10 minutes later.
Bridge. I mean, there's all those car bumping. And there used to be a road, but if there was not a road, how would they get on?
We're standing on an original Alaska highway bridge that was built in 1942, and the U.S. Army came up here and built the Alaska highway through the Yukon territory. It looks like they built it right out of the logs they found along the route. It's pretty amazing that it's still here, it's still standing over the river all these years later.
So we went to Whitehorse after we found the leak under our camper, and we really didn't have a cell phone signal at all because we're in Canada and they're hard to come by, so we had a little bit of a trouble trying to find a place to buy this part. But we did see on a billboard a sign for an RV store, so we followed the instructions on the sign and we got to one, and I was able to get this part and install it. It's a new stopcock for the water tank, and that solved our leaky water problem. And now we're past Whitehorse, down around Teslin a little further, and we looked for a place to stop for the night, and we found this really awesome boondocking spot right on a lake. You can see there in the background. It even has a little beach, and it's completely free, so you can't beat that. Cool, do you like this campsite? there's our campsite right over there in the middle of the screen, right on the edge of this beautiful lake. I'll pan around so you can check it out.